I got bitten by my archenemy. When it was over, I bolted. The next day, he cornered me against the wall. Henry, what exactly happened yesterday? My knees went weak, terrified he'd call the cops on me. I stammered, trembling, I'll take responsibility for you. He chuckled softly. Take responsibility? Sure. Then right now, immediately, come register our marriage with me. I was skipping class to hit the internet cafe for a gaming session. Just as I was climbing over the wall, a voice rose up from right under my butt. Henry, student ID 2023101304001, climbing the wall without permission. 5 demerits. Get down. Of course, it was Mason again. This was the 29th time he'd caught me this month, only because this month had 29 days so far. I froze awkwardly on the wall, stuck, couldn't go forward or back. Well, fancy meeting you here, Mason. I gave an awkward laugh. My shoelace came undone. I climbed up to tie it, better view, you know. Mason stood below, eyes narrowing slightly behind his gold-rimmed glasses. How does a supposed beta radiate this much authority? All tied? If you're done, get down yourself. Or do you need me to help you? I curled my lip and hopped neatly back onto school grounds. Ugh, what bad luck. I dusted my hands off. Seriously, do you have a GPS on me? Wherever I go, you show up. You're just too easy to predict. Mason pulled out his little notebook and began jotting things down. Skipping class, fighting, napping, daydreaming. Henry, where's your self-reflection report? He was making my chest ache with frustration. Mind your own business. Betas shouldn't meddle in an alpha's affairs all day long. I was just about to make a run for it. From somewhere nearby came the sound of shattering glass. Then, a cloyingly sweet strawberry scent of pheromones hit the air. I immediately covered my nose, wincing at the smell. Mason, right in front of me, suddenly went rigid. His breathing turned heavy. I instantly sensed something was off. Hey, Mason, you! Before I could finish, the man lifted his head. Those always calm, restrained eyes were now swirling with a terrifying red. A wave of aggressive red wine-scented pheromones came crashing down over me. Alpha pheromones? My pupils dilated. This bastard Mason was actually an alpha. Before I could even process the bombshell, I was already slammed to the ground. Mason's eyes were crimson, his voice hoarse and raw. What's that smell on you? So sweet. Sweet, my ass. 2 alphas. Besides clashing pheromones to show dominance during a fight, what else is there to smell? Unless the guy's a pervert. I felt my alpha pride being challenged like never before. Mason, you son of a, get off me. I tried to suppress him with my own pheromones. I quickly realized with despair, Mason's rank was higher than mine. My mint smoke scent was nothing but an appetizer to his red wine, zero intimidation, pure provocation. His body grew hotter as he pinned me. His whole face was almost pressed into my neck, and his mouth kept moving closer to my gland. I started to panic. Mason, snap out of it. It's me, Henry, the guy you've been fighting with since we were kids. Mason paused, then nodded. Yeah, baby. Baby smells so good, want to bite. Baby your head. I tried to roll away. My ankle was grabbed and I was yanked back. The next second, a sharp, burning pain shot from the back of my neck. Tears sprang to my eyes. Even my voice broke into a sob. Mason, I'm an alpha. I knocked Mason out and ran. I hid in the school's sports equipment room, curled up behind the high jump mats, shaking like a drenched quail. The bite mark on the back of my neck burned hot, but what broke me even more was that my whole body reeked of Mason's scent. What am I gonna do? I cried again in panic. Tears splashed onto my phone, blurring the screen. The browser history was still open. Can a beta suddenly differentiate into an alpha? Can a temporary mark be erased? Got bitten by my archenemy, can't get pregnant, right? Can alpha and alpha have babies? The more I searched, the colder my heart felt. The answer to the last one was, theoretically possible. I nearly dropped dead on the spot. Me, having a baby with Mason? I imagined myself with a huge belly, Mason's stone-cold face holding me in his arms. He'd run that same hand that's recorded over 100 of my infractions over my stomach, saying, "Good baby." Today Daddy also caught Henry's daddy skipping class again. A chill ran straight from my tailbone to my skull. No! The campus forum had already exploded over Mason being an alpha. The pinned post featured a blurry, secretly taken photo. Breaking news. Student Council President Mason is actually a top-tier alpha. Suspected of losing control during his sensitive period, assaulting a fellow student. Comments had already hit 999+. WTF? Wasn't Mason a beta? How'd he suddenly become an alpha? Who's the other guy in the photo? Poor thing, getting suppressed by a top alpha's pheromones. Must have gone weak at the knees. Weak or not, dunno. All I know is that Omega was fierce, knocked him out and ran. Mason's still in the hospital unconscious. Omega? Me? Fierce Omega? Are you kidding me? I'm a real alpha. Also, Mason's in the hospital, because of me. Was it that serious? I didn't even hit him that hard. Crap, crap, crap. What if he wakes up and comes after me? This wasn't our usual petty fighting, this was straight up aggravated assault. The more I thought about it, the more terrified I became. I hugged my knees, burying my face even deeper. The next day, I kept my head down as I walked into school. I was terrified someone would recognize me as the delicate yet ferocious Omega everyone was gossiping about. Even more terrified I'd run into Mason, already discharged from the hospital. I slunk along the walls like a thief, sneaking into the teaching building. Just as I barreled forward with my head down, I slammed right into a wall. Pain shot through my nose. Who the hell? Watch where you're. I snapped my head up mid-curse and locked eyes with a pair that held a not-quite smile. Gold-rimmed glasses, a scholarly face hiding a roguish streak, and a glaring white bandage taped to his temple. Who else could it be but Mason? You. Words failed me. I spun to run but someone snagged my hoodie by the hood. Running off the second you see me. Henry, what's got you so guilty? How could I not be guilty? I literally split his head open yesterday. I really need to use the bathroom. Nature calls. Mason, be a decent guy or I'm gonna wet myself right here. Mason wasn't moved. He turned me around by my hoodie so I was facing him. Henry, what exactly happened yesterday? My knees went weak, terrified he'd call the cops. I stammered, shaking. I'll take responsibility for you. Mason laughed softly. Take responsibility? Sure. Then right now, immediately, come register our marriage with me. Or else. I tried every excuse I could think of. Like, we need our household registration papers to get the license. Mine's with my mom. If she finds out I'm marrying an alpha, you of all people, she'll break my legs. Or, our horoscopes clash. Mint smoke and red wine, one wakes you up, one numbs you. Mix them together and someone's gonna die. But it was useless. Completely useless. Mason's grip didn't loosen one bit. He just kept dragging me straight toward the police station. We were almost there. I caved, clutching his wrist with both hands, practically sobbing. I wailed. No, bro, big bro, let's turn right. Okay, right turn. To the marriage bureau, not the police station. I swear, in that instant, I saw the corners of Mason's eternally frozen face twitch upward. Must have been my imagination. That's more like it. Mason slid his fingers down to entwine with mine. His palm was burning hot, so hot it set my whole body aflame. So hot my mind went hazy. Even his pheromones, same class as mine, smelled so good and soothing. Let's go. Go where? It's Wednesday, we've still got class. I made one last week protest. Just skipping. Nothing new. Mason glanced at me and said mildly, aren't you the expert at that? Perfect. I'll skip with you for once. Some people really are, fake gentlemen. What are you squatting for? Go home. Mason stuffed the two little red marriage booklets into his pocket. I squatted by the roadside, grimacing, trying to negotiate. Mason, about this, can we not tell my mom yet? You know what she's like. She dreams about holding a grandchild. If she finds out I'm married an alpha, she'll be furious enough to make herself sick. And she'll definitely think I corrupted you. Ruined the scholarship kid with a spotless record. I muttered under my breath, not that you're looking all that virtuous now anyway. At my words, Mason didn't show the slightest, at least you've got some conscience, look. Instead, he bent down, one hand braced on his knee, leveling his gaze with mine. That outrageously handsome face loomed closer, the bandage on his temple glaring white. You done talking? Yeah, then get up. He grabbed my arm and hauled me off the ground. I agree with you. This really isn't something to make public right now. My eyes lit up, thinking he'd finally grown a conscience. Right. It would panic the whole school, especially with our relationship. But Henry, don't forget, you've been marked by me. Without my pheromones calming you, you're going to feel awful. I brushed it off. No big deal, I can handle it. Getting marked by an alpha had been pure accident, and I wasn't about to start believing there'd be any lingering pheromone effect. I wasn't an Omega, so I walked off coolly, and regretted it that very night. Back home, after my shower, I lay in bed, feeling my whole body go off kilter. At first it was just a faint warmth. Then, a strange heat rose from my lower belly. I felt like I'd been thrown into a steam basket, heat suffusing me from the inside out. *T, what the hell? I was an alpha, fit enough to wrestle a bull. How was I suddenly this weak? I struggled up from bed to get the suppressant in my drawer. But the moment my feet hit the floor, my legs turned to noodles and I collapsed to my knees. It felt like there was a hole inside me, desperate to be filled by something. What was it? I lay on the floor, mouth opening helplessly. Just then, a faint trace of red wine scent drifted into my nose. Mason's scent. At school I'd wanted to block my nose from it. But now, I wanted more. Wanted a thicker, richer red wine scent. Wanted to be held by the owner of that scent. The thought startled me awake like a bucket of ice water. I'm insane. I've completely lost it. How could I crave Mason's deadpan pheromones? Clutching the edge of the bed, I dragged myself back up and buried myself under the blanket. Henry, get a grip. You're an alpha. Have some pride. You can't just give in to your archenemy. By the end, even I didn't sound convinced. So I hardened my heart, pulled out my phone, and impulsively ordered 10 bottles of red wine. I drank myself half-dead drunk, and still craved that damn scent. Mason's place was right upstairs from mine. Before we had that falling out over our secondary gender differentiation, we were so close it felt like even one pair of pants would have been too roomy for us. We tied a thick rope between our windows, our own secret passage. I used to climb up in the middle of the night, squeeze onto Mason's bed to play games with him, then sneak back down before dawn. What a pity, such a pity. I hiccuped from the alcohol, shook my head, and dragged a chair to the window. Grabbing the frame, I leaned halfway out, reaching for the thick rope. Dignity, who cares about dignity? We're married now, legal husbands, going to his place is only natural. I gave myself a pep talk and started climbing with both hands and feet. It had been 8 years since I last did this. I was rusty. More than once my foot slipped, and I almost performed an accidental free fall. Thankfully, an alpha's physical strength doesn't disappear overnight. Gritting my teeth, swatting away mosquitoes, I finally managed to haul myself up to his windowsill. Ha! Mason had actually left his window open. I froze for a moment, confused. Just as I reached for the frame, a pale, cool hand shot out from inside and locked firmly around my wrist. I was so startled I nearly let go. A scream caught in my throat but never made it out. A strong pull lifted me clean off my feet and dragged me inside. My forehead bumped against something, not painful, just dizzying. The hand gripping mine didn't let go. Climbing in at midnight, trespassing into private property. Henry, how many points should I dock you this time? Mason stood right in front of me, wearing his gold-rimmed glasses like always. That open window, clearly a trap he'd set. You did this on purpose. You knew I'd come. I didn't know, he said calmly. I just like keeping the window open. Besides, if the window's open, my scent might drift a little farther. Maybe it could help a certain little pup follow the trail. You're the pup. Your whole family's pups. I wanted to punch him, but my whole body felt hot. So desperate to be closer. Before I knew it, my face was pressed firmly into Mason's chest, like I'd fallen into a wine cellar. Mason, did you drink? You're the one who drank. Fine, I drank. I rubbed my face against his chest, mumbling incoherently. Mason, let me smell you, just a little more. Mason gave a low, hoarse sound. Henry, you're going through a secondary differentiation. I didn't catch what he said. My reason was completely drowned by longing. All I could think was, get closer to him, make him mine, completely. I even opened my mouth and, through the thin fabric of his sleep shirt, gave his chest the gentlest of bites. Mason, please, I won't ever call you a liar again. I won't ever mind that you're a beta. So please, be with me, okay? Everything turned hazy after that. It felt like my mind was soaking in warm wine, lightheaded, floating. The line between reality and dreams began to blur. I dreamed a dream, so long, so vivid. I dreamed of the days before our differentiation. We were 15. The summer wind blew across the playground, carrying the scorching smell of the rubber track. Cicadas chirped on the camphor trees behind the teaching building, their noise making our heads spin. Mason and I were crouched in front of the campus snack stand, sharing a mung bean popsicle. Henry, what do you want to become after you differentiate? He asked, his words muffled as he licked the popsicle. Back then, Mason didn't wear those gold-rimmed glasses yet. When he smiled, his eyes sparkled like they'd caught a skyful of stars. Of course I want to be an alpha. A top alpha. I thumped my chest. Then I'll protect you. Then I'll try to differentiate into an omega. My eyes lit up. You said it yourself. Then I'll marry you. That was the last time we spoke with such open-hearted warmth before we drifted apart. Not long after, the test results came in. Just as I'd wished, I differentiated into an alpha. My scent was mint smoke, cool and sharp, matching my style perfectly. I grabbed the report and ran to his place, ready to fulfill my promise to protect him. But Mason's door was tightly shut. I knocked for ages until finally a crack opened and I saw half his face. "Mason, look, I'm an alpha." He glanced at my report, said nothing, and closed the door. The next day, the school posted the differentiation list. Next to Mason's name, the word beta gleamed. From that day on, Mason started avoiding me. He changed seats, stopped eating with me, no longer waited for me after school. He put on those gold-rimmed glasses that would later become his trademark. The lenses blocked his eyes, and blocked me out too. Later, he became the student council president everyone feared. I became the #1 troublemaker on his list. That's how we turned into sworn enemies. As for that summer promise, "I'll marry you," it seemed we'd both silently agreed to forget it, evaporated clean away by the heat of summer. Fragments of the dream were violently shattered by reality. I groggily opened my eyes. Mason's ridiculously handsome face hovered right above me. He wasn't wearing his glasses, a thin sheen of sweat on his forehead, the corners of his eyes tinged red. In his dark eyes, I saw myself reflected. "Naked, you!" I screamed, reaching to push him, but my wrists felt like overcooked noodles. Pressing against his solid chest, my push was pitiful, like a petulant child, useless. Instead, his body stiffened at my touch, his Adam's apple bobbing. I froze completely. He actually marked me fully, opened my reproductive cavity for me. "What did you do to me? Ha! You beast, pervert, wolf in sheep's clothing." Not even alpha status spared him from my rage. Mason pinned my flailing legs. "Calm down, Henry. Calm down my ass. Look at what you've done." Tears were threatening to spill. "I'm naked, you're naked, and you marked me." "We're legal partners," Mason pointed out coldly. "Everything we do is legally protected, and since you've differentiated, your pheromones are unstable." "Who?" I was about to argue, but a new scent hit me. A cloyingly sweet smell. Like cream, or maybe, candy. Where the hell was this sickly sweet omega-like scent coming from? Then, I realized in utter despair. This foreign sweet scent was coming from me. I dropped my head and sniffed myself desperately. No mint smoke. Not a trace of it. Only that cursed candy scent, seeping from every pore. Before I could process this iron-hard truth, a familiar burning heat surged from my tailbone. I knew, this was omega heat. Without repeated alpha reassurance and saturated pheromones, it wouldn't stop. Could dignity fill a stomach? Could it calm heat cycles? No. But Mason could. His pheromones could. I steeled myself and closed my eyes. I wrapped myself tightly around Mason's waist, as if I were going to strangle him. Mason made a low hum, his body tensing. "Henry, you, shut up." I buried my face in the warm hollow of his neck, sniffing that intoxicating wine scent desperately. Mumbling incoherently, I scolded him. "What are you waiting for? I've differentiated into an omega. Don't you, as my husband, know what to do? Soothe me already." Mason chuckled softly. "Oh, weren't you just calling me a beast? And now you're calling me husband? Henry, where did you learn such cheek? From the city walls? Mind your own business. I'm flexible, unlike you, stubborn." Angry and embarrassed, I bit his shoulder. "Hurry, can you or not? If not, I'll find someone else." Even though I knew that an omega fully marked could only ever be with this one alpha for life. But that didn't stop me from talking tough. Mason grabbed my struggling head, forcing me to look at him. "Find someone else?" He pinched my chin, his thumb brushing my lips. "From top to bottom, you're mine. Even your reproductive cavity is filled with my pheromones. Who else could you possibly go to?" Holy, he actually said it. "You, shameless." Mason nodded. "I have even more shameless things. You'll see them all soon." And in the end, I cried out calling him Daddy. The next morning, I was embarrassingly running around looking for my underwear. Mason woke up to see me sprinting naked across the floor. "Looking for what?" I nearly jumped out of my skin. "My underwear. Are you serious? You undressed me last night so thoroughly, and now you ask me what I'm looking for. I helped you undress. Doesn't mean I remember where you left it." His gaze swept over my bare body, finally resting on my slightly trembling buttocks. "And I thought you'd be more concerned about why you differentiated into an omega." "Shut up. This is tactical adjustment, okay? Found it?" No. I was on the verge of tears, angrily thumping the floor. "Mason, you owe me underwear." Mason chuckled, climbed out of bed, and gently grabbed the back of my neck, massaging it. "I can't compensate for that, but I can sponsor a pair." He pointed to a clothes rack in the corner of the room, filled with his shirts. At the very top hung my boxer shorts. Was last night really that intense? Flying that high? Mason walked over barefoot, easily plucking it from the rack. He held it, inspecting it. SpongeBob, Henry, how old are you? Still wearing this? Mind your own business. Give it here. I lunged to grab it, legs giving out again, my whole body hanging on him. Mason effortlessly scooped me into his arms, his warm chest pressed to my back. I shivered violently, like I'd been electrocuted. I'll let go. Why are you like this so early in the morning? Blame who? He buried his face in my neck, taking a deep inhale. Your pheromones are too sweet, Henry. Mason tossed the poor underwear aside, picked me up horizontally, and laid me back on the bed. I think we should start with some morning training before discussing underwear issues. Fuck. No, Mason. My waist is going to break. I screamed, scrambling to get off the bed. Perfect if it breaks, Mason said, pinning me down, grabbing my ankles, dragging me back. Today, no getting off the bed. I was completely drained, curled up in Mason's arms, listening to him speak. Henry, do you know that the day you knocked me out, you were already showing signs of a second differentiation? So, aren't you curious why I suddenly decided not to hide my alpha identity? How would I know? All these years, I thought Mason distanced himself because I had become an alpha, but now I realized, he was an alpha too. Because that day, I smelled your pheromones. A faint milky scent. At that moment, I knew, I finally had my chance. What chance? To be with you. I froze. You want to be with me? Yeah. Back then, I got my differentiation results early. It said I was alpha. That meant I couldn't be an omega, and certainly couldn't be your bride. So I was scared to see you, scared I'd lose control, and try to force you into an AA relationship. But I couldn't resist seeing you either. I finally understood. So you just took advantage of me to get your credits, huh? Mason, you're such an idiot. I don't care about your gender, I like you. Mason nodded obediently. Yeah, I know now. I thought for a moment, this still can't get out to my mom. Why? Afraid her heart wouldn't handle it. Alright, whatever you say. That easy, and no more docking my points. Sure. Damn, this is amazing. Wish I'd done this sooner. PE class. After a full warm-up, I was sweating cold, my lower abdomen still aching. I thought it was just from too many cold drinks, so I didn't pay much attention and ran 3,000 meters with a group of alphas. Henry, not feeling well today? Your face is so pale. A sporty guy bumped my shoulder. Daniel, an alpha whose pheromones smelled like gasoline. We used to be close. Buzz off. When have I, Henry, ever been weak? I tried to sound tough, but my body screamed otherwise. Something was wrong, really wrong today. The whistle blew, and I forced myself to start. For the first 2 laps, I managed to keep up with the lead pack using my alpha conditioning. But by the 3rd lap, my legs felt like lead, my breath came in ragged gasps. The ache in my lower abdomen worsened, radiating into my lower back. Hey, Henry, running like an omega. Speed up. Daniel overtook me from behind, slapping my back. That one slap felt like the last straw. My vision went black, and I collapsed. I groggily opened my eyes. Mason's perfect jawline and the gentle roll of his Adam's apple came into focus. Familiar wine-scented pheromones wrapped me tenderly, calming my restless body. How did I end up in Mason's arms? And, in a bridal carry? Awake? Mason looked down at me, not stopping his steps. Around us, classmates gasped and whispered. Whoa, Mason's carrying Henry. Aren't they supposed to be rivals? Look at Henry's face, so pale. I heard he fainted while running. Mason's boyfriend power, alpha level for sure. I felt like a cat with its tail stepped on, ready to explode. Mason, put me down. I can walk myself. Don't move. Mason tightened his arms, pressing me closer. You're not in condition for vigorous activity right now. Why can't I be vigorous? I saw the sly smirk at the corner of his mouth and realized instantly. This dog was mocking me. I punched his chest, but my strength felt like nothing. Beast. Yeah, I am. Mason accepted it calmly and carried me to the nurse's office. The school nurse adjusted her glasses, unbothered, and gestured to the bed. Put him there. What's wrong? Mason carefully laid me down and tucked the blanket around me. Doctor, he fainted during a 3,000-meter run. His face looked terrible. The nurse took my temperature, listened to my chest, then pressed my lower abdomen. Ah, it hurts here. I nodded. You've undergone a second differentiation into Omega, right? A little nervous. Yeah. And him? You're Alpha. The nurse nodded toward Mason. We both confirmed. She pulled a small box from the drawer and handed it to me. Go to the restroom and test. I stared at the box. Early pregnancy test. Doctor, did you grab the wrong one? I'm male, even after second differentiation, I can't possibly. Student, though rare, male omegas after a second differentiation can have a reproductive cavity capable of conception in a very short time. Young people like you, blood hot, no control. Her words made my head spin. Control. I remembered every time before. I slept with him. That bastard Mason never once used protection. I went to the restroom. The test strip had 2 clear red lines, stabbing my eyes. I'm pregnant, with my arch-rival's seed. Mom, say something. This is making me so nervous. My mom had been holding the pregnancy test for almost 10 minutes. Mason gently touched my hand and stepped forward, putting himself between us. Auntie, Henry and I have known each other since we were kids. Don't worry, I'll take full responsibility for this. Thunk. A soft sound cut off Mason's carefully rehearsed speech. My mom's eyes rolled back, and she toppled straight onto the back of the sofa. Mom! Auntie! The living room instantly descended into chaos. Mason and I scrambled, one grabbing the first aid kit, the other fanning her. Just as Mason reached for his phone to call for help, my mom stirred awake. She blinked, pressed her hand to her forehead, and sat up. Oh no, the storm is coming. I braced myself for my mom's legendary roar, but instead of a furious outburst, there was quiet, suppressed sobbing. I opened my eyes. Mom had her face in her hands, shoulders shaking, crying so heartbreakingly. My heart sank even further. Mom, don't cry, this is my fault, all my fault. No, Auntie, it's my fault. I didn't take proper precautions. Mom lowered her hands, her eyes red, glaring at me. You silly child. She suddenly stood, pulling me into a tight hug. With such wonderful news, why didn't you tell me sooner? Oh my, I'm going to have a grandchild, wait, a grandson. Whatever. Either way, it's my precious baby. Then she turned to Mason, looking at him with the exact gleam of approval a mother-in-law gives a son-in-law. Mason, well done. As expected from the one I watched grow up. Efficient too. This world is insane. Mason, I can't eat anymore. I slumped onto the sofa, patting my round belly helplessly. Only 5 months, and it's already like a small watermelon. Heavy, dragging on my back until it aches. All thanks to my overexcited mom and Mason's mother, who treats me like a national treasure of a pregnant husband. Ever since my pregnancy could no longer be hidden, my life switched from truant delinquent mode to rare, precious pregnant husband mode. For the past few days, my mom and his mom have teamed up, feeding me 8 meals a day in the name of nutrition for the grandchild. Tonic soups, nourishing broths. My face has even gotten rounder. Mason wiped the oil off my mouth with a tissue, eyes behind his glasses full of amusement. Just one more bite. Mom specially made this bird's nest soup for you. I can't. If I eat more, I'll explode. I shook my head violently. I'm really going to throw up. Look at this belly, it's almost as thick as your 8-pack abs stacked together. Mason put the bowl down leisurely. He reached out long arms, scooped me up with the blanket, and let me sit sideways on his lap. He leaned down, blowing gently into my ear. Then let's try something else, okay? That soft, teasing tone tickled my heart. My cheeks instantly burned red. 1,000 inappropriate thoughts flashed through my mind. Since the pregnancy, my omega pheromones had been overflowing uncontrollably. The sweet, milky scent nearly perfumed the whole room. And Mason, this top-tier alpha, was like a bear guarding a jar of candy. Every chance he got, he wanted to kiss and cuddle me, claiming it was pheromone supplementation. During the first trimester, the doctor said it was unstable, so he held back. Now past the risky stage, he was a wild stallion. He wanted to take me for morning practice and night practice every day. I pushed him away, but he caught my wrist, bringing it to his lips and kissing it gently. Pervert, Mason chuckled. Who was the one who couldn't sleep last night and clung to me, saying the baby missed daddy? That's pregnancy hormones. Hormones are to blame. Yes, it's the hormones' fault. Following my words, his kisses spread from my wrist to my arm. Finally, he paused at my neck, sucking softly but firmly. The rich wine-scented pheromones enveloped me. My legs went weak, my muscles melted, I had no strength at all. Mason, we're still in the living room. Don't worry, they went grocery shopping, won't be back anytime soon. Mason held my ear, teasing with his tongue, low satisfied laughs spilling from his throat. And the baby, he held my hand, guiding it downward. Wants to eat too. I gave up. I closed my eyes, tilted my head back, and offered my lips willingly. Rivals? No, we were meant to be. Mint smoke, creamy candy, and rich wine pheromones, all fused into one scent. The scent of love.